On this episode of Locked On Angels, the Angels get a victory last night. They moved to one game over 500 in June. And Mike Trout has had a huge impact, even though he hasn't been on the field, on the young players. We'll tell you all about that. And the Angels named a starter today. It's somebody who used to start. So we'll give you all the details about him. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John. And this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, it is. And yes, we are. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen every single day, like our everydayers, Jen and Larry. We love that you watch every single day on YouTube. You can find us anywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And you can help the Super Halo Brothers out for all the Super Halo content by doing a couple of things. You can leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, you can hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. Become a Locked On Everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. It's really one of the best ways to get in touch with John and I and be a part of the conversation. And today's show is brought to you by our friends at Tax Network USA. They're going to be your best friends as well because they help you resolve all of those tax issues with the IRS. Don't wait. Reduce your tax debt and get help from a team of licensed tax professionals. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit their website, tnusa.com/lockedon.
Happy Wednesday to you, and thanks for being here for this edition of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Mike, first things first, got to do a special shout-out to my wife, Abby. It's our anniversary today. 4-year anniversry,
4
baby.
years ago. Wow. You made it.
We made it. All right. That's it. No,
4 years is a long time to be married.
It's the longest relationship I've ever had.
Let's
We'll
go.
it
Hopefully it continues, my
Yes.
friend. Let's hope it continues.
Hey, it's our third season here at Locked On Angels. My marriage has been longer than our tenure here at Locked On Angels, but it's our third season. We're talking Angels baseball Monday through Friday with you. We're out early in the morning, so you can take us with you on your way to work. Maybe when you're getting ready throughout your day, you can listen to us. And we're so glad that you're here with us. On today's show, Ransy Contreras, Michael, is starting against the A's today. We'll give you a little bit of background on him. And Trout's loyalty has made an impact on some of the young players. We'll tell you all about that. But first, let's talk about the Angels winning the series against the A's and taking a win on Tuesday night, 7-5. It wasn't easy.
No.
But they got the job done, right?
Yeah, Tyler Anderson came into this game. He started, and he had the fourth lowest average exit velo amongst pitchers with a minimum of 250 batted ball events. I sound so smart right now, don't I?
Because I wrote it for you.
Thank you. And here's the top four right here. Michael King, 85.8 miles an hour. Zach Wheeler, 85.9. And then Matt Waldron, he's a knuckleball pitcher, 87.1. And then our boy, Tyler Anderson, 87.2 miles an hour. Now, all that's great, right? But to induce weak contact, you have to locate.
You better locate, girl.
And Tyler Anderson was really struggling with location last night. Now, he started off well, John. Top of the first, he got a strikeout, then a walk, then a pop out, then a fly out. Top of the second, a line out to third, a pop out, and a ground out to third. The trouble came, John, in the third inning for Anderson, and that's when he really was struggling to hit the zone. Reminded me of last year's Tyler Anderson, so I felt a little sick to my stomach watching him last night.
Yeah, the trouble came out in the third inning, and the swear jar came out in the third inning. I don't know if you heard Tyler Anderson saying "fun" so many times, but that's what he was doing out there. 37-pitch inning, Mike.
Yeah.
It all started with a leadoff double, then a walk. He got a strikeout. There was a bloop to center field, and Blade scores the runner on that hit. Sean Newcomb actually cut it off and got Blade out at second. So a great heads-up play from Nolan Sean Newcomb. Look, Mike, I know that it was a struggle for Anderson in this one, but everybody seemed to be playing some clean baseball lately. There were a few things in this one that got out of hand we'll talk about. But in the recent couple of games, the Angels have been playing good fundamental baseball. There was an error from Rengifo, an error from Neto. There was Joe Adell trucking Geloff over running to second base.
Yeah.
So that wasn't very clean. But up until this point, they were playing some good, clean baseball. And I got to give Sean Newcomb credit for that heads-up play. So it was 1-0 A's. Anderson's control was an issue the entire inning. He gave up the third walk of the game to Miguel Andujar. Enright comes out to have a talk with him, gives up another walk to Brent Rooker. Jose Marte is warming up at this point. You're thinking, man, is Anderson not going to get through this third inning? Then, Mike, with 2 strikes and the bases loaded, he hits Tyler Nevin on the elbow. So that brings in a run. It makes it 2-0 A's.
That was for the home run the night before.
That's right. That's right. Elbow. Yeah. I'll show you Phil Nevin's son. Langoliers did ground out to shortstop to end the inning. So the damage ended at 2-0 with the A's on top at the end of the third inning.
Yeah, top of the fourth, 2 outs, 1 on. Anderson got really lucky with an automatic double that one hopped over the yellow line.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
That either. That was really strange. He did put the runner at third, but the next pitch was a fly out, and he did get out of the jam. And then bottom of the fourth, Ward sneaks a base hit through the left side for a leadoff double. It was his first hit from a righty so far. And then Calhoun gets a base hit. Ward is stopped at third, and then O'Hoppe gets a base hit over Geloff.
Your Dexia is kicking in.
Well, I'm thinking of hockey right now. So over the glove, and it scored Taylor Ward. It made it 2-1 A's at that point. And then 3 straight hits as Neto comes up. Neto shows bunt. He turns away. He gets hit by a pitch. Bases loaded. Then Mickey Moniak comes up and hits a grand slam over the right field wall. It was his first career slam, and he actually said in the interview after the game, he thinks it was his first, slam ever.
Yeah.
He's never had a slam before.
Yeah, up and down the minors and hockey, high school, or thanks. Now you got me talking about
got it on your mind now, too, didn't
high school or college. Now, Mike, everybody, I mentioned, or you mentioned the first right-handed hitter was that double that Ward hit off of Mitch Spence. He was getting rocked by lefties, but none of the righties up until that point had a hit off of him. But here's the craziest stat of all. Mitch Spence, the starter for the A's, he faced all 9 hitters in the inning, but he only threw 15 pitches before facing the number 9 hitter, which was Rengifo in that inning. So that's another crazy thing I don't think I've ever seen before. Yeah.
So top of the fifth, Brent Rooker comes up with a 1-out home run, made it 5-3 Angels at that point. There was a walk to Nevin, and then Anderson's at 103 pitches at this point. Then Langoliers hits a little squibber to Anderson, who throws to first for an out. Nevin gets the second. Then there's a line out to first for the third out. Final line for Tyler Anderson, Johnny, 5 innings, season high, 109 pitches, 5 hits, 3 earnies, 5 walks, and 2 Ks. So this is a interesting start from Tyler Anderson. The fact that he did go 5 and got the win, I think that was a huge deal for him. High five to Tyler Anderson.
Sure. Yeah. There's 2 ways to look at this, Mike. Number one is that he had a tough night. He was obviously frustrated with himself. He couldn't locate. So do you look at it as Tyler Anderson battled, he was a dog, and despite not having his best stuff? Or is this looks like the Anderson of old. He's getting found out against a bad team, and he needs to be traded tomorrow rather than let's wait till the deadline before his value starts to creep down. Now, everydayers did vote on this one on Twitter. 73.3% said he battled. 26.7% said he was found out in this one. So 3/4 felt like he battled through it. Mike, what do you think? Did he battle? Obviously, he battled, and this is an indication of that. Or is it, we got to move Anderson before he gets exposed?
He's had a couple of starts like this recently, and so I think that what's happening is he's battling, but I think the league is figuring out what he's doing, and so Tyler Anderson is going to have to adjust again. And so I'm in the category of, let's trade this guy when he's top value so that we can get top value back, because second half Tyler Anderson might be a Tyler Anderson that finds his ERA around high 3, 4. I don't know if he's this low 2.5, 2.6 ERA guy that he's been and was with the Dodgers. I think that he'll start to, everything evens out in baseball. There's never you're just going to go crazy. Everything evens out. And I think what's happening right now is it's starting to even out. I still think that he's better than he was last year. I think he's going to adjust, but I think that the Angels need to sell high. They're not going to do that before the trade deadline if they do trade him. I think they're going to wait probably to the last minute, because that's when his value will be at the peak, no matter what he's done, because teams are going to want an arm like this in their rotation.
You mentioned his FIP, fielding independent pitching, on a previous time, or the previous start that he went out there. We talked about his start, and that's what the pitcher can control. It talks about hits, strikeouts, walks, home runs, hit by pitches, and he's got a high FIP.
Yeah.
And that's a matter of time before it catches up to you. And last night, I should say, was a good example of that. He's putting runners on. He's not controlling or I shouldn't say he's not controlling the run game, because the fact that he only had 3 earned runs was a good sign, but he's putting a lot of traffic on the bases, and it's all stuff that he was in control of with the walks and the hit by pitches and stuff like that in the home run surrender. Now, the good news is Hunter Strickland came in, got a 1-2-3-6 inning. Bottom of the 6th, Mickey Moniak gets a base hit, takes second on a wild pitch. Joe Adell got a nice little slider, got out in front of it, hit it into the left field corner for a double that scored Moniak. That made it 6-3 Angels. There was a scoreless 7th inning for Luis Garcia. Then something really interesting happened. Again, something I don't think I've ever seen before, and that's Sean Newcomb, Angels' #1 draft pick from 2014, got taken for a ride by the Angels' #1 draft pick from 2015, Taylor Ward. It was a solo home run, his 14th of the year. So one Angels' #1 draft pick hits a home run off of another, and they were consecutive draft picks. Now, Matt Birch, the the media relations guy for the Angels, who always has the cool stats, he said the last time this happened was Randall Grichuk hitting one off of Garrett Richards, but that wasn't in an Angels game. It was between different teams, and I think it was the Blue Jays, and I can't remember where I can't think of his name. Grichuk was with the Blue Jays, and Garrett Richards, I forget who he was with at the moment.
The Red Sox, maybe.
I think it was the Red Sox, actually. So all of that to say, very fun, interesting moment right there. Now, top of the 8th, Jose Marte came in. There was an error from Rengifo, a bloop single from Geloff, so there's 2 on, no outs. Another bloop from Alvarez to left. Adell tried to slide for it, but he missed it. So Langoliers scored that made it 7-4 Angels. Then there were runners on 2nd and 3rd. There was a fly out to center field. Moniak makes the sliding catch. The runner tags and scores. So it's 7-5. Really can't blame Jose Marte in this one. He got dinky dude, Mike. Yeah. And we've talked about that before. Now, Ben Joyce came in. It's his first time pitching in back-to-back games in the majors. He started doing that in the minors this year, and now he's done it for the first time in the majors. There was a low pickoff throw to center field, so the runner went to 3rd. He did walk the first batter, then he got a double play to get out of that inning.
Then bottom of the 8th, Neto comes in and gets a stolen base. He's the first Angels infielder with 10 home runs and 10 stolen bases before the All-Star break since Troy Gloss and Carney Lansford, Johnny, and Rex Hudler also did that as well. Then Joe Adell gets intentionally walked, and then Guillermo hits this high bouncer that for some reason Adell is just trucking from first to second. Do you remember the old WrestleMania game when it was like for the regular Nintendo and you could be Hacksaw Jim Duggan, you could just do his super like clothesline and you could run into things? That's what it was like. It felt like NFL Blitz.
Listen,
what are you paying attention? What are you looking for?
Jim Harbaugh was there yesterday. He's trying to get Adell to be a linebacker for the Chargers this season. I don't blame him, Mike.
Well, give him a contract because he ran hard and didn't see the infield. I mean, it was one of those situations where it's like only Joe Adell. That would only happen to Joe Adell. Luckily, the Angels were still leading. Then Carlos Estevez comes in. Johnny had retired 24 consecutive batters coming in. Got the first 2, then gave up a single. So 26 consecutive batters retired. Hopefully he can get the final guy out. He does. He strikes out Langoliers. And the Angels get a victory, and they move to 1 game over 500 in June. 1 game over 500 in
Locked
June.
On every day, or Nick Vlahakis wants to know, Mike, are you hopeful because they're 1 game over 500 in June? Are you going to say it? Are you going to say the magic words? No, he's got his mouth shut. For those on the audio side. That's a good way to look at it. All right, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. The Angels are playing the A's. It's a day game, getaway game, 1:07 Pacific time. You can catch every pitch of the Angels hometown broadcast on SiriusXM with the SXM app. Just search Angels. Coming up on Locked On Angels, how has Trout's loyalty impacted the young players on this team? We're going to talk about it coming right up.
Everydayers, working on your car, working on that truck, working on that SUV, you need eBay Motors. They want to help you out. They have everything that you need to maintain your vehicle, and you can even level it up to peak performances. They have over 122 million parts to choose for your auto, and you'll find exactly what you're looking for at ebaymotors.com. And they've got the eBay Guarantee Fit. Your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every single time, or they're going to give you your money back. With all the parts that you need at the prices that you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that big W. So keep the car, the truck, the SUV alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions do apply, and the eBay Guarantee Fit is only available to U.S. customers. And salespeople, everydayers who are salespeople, those working in sales, LinkedIn has something for you. It's called the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's a sales intelligent platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers. That's what you want. Doing so will help bring in higher revenue and increase your sales performance. The LinkedIn Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers and be aware of key signals like job changes and which accounts you should prioritize. It also shows you hidden allies so that you can find buyers that are most likely to convert to whatever it is that you're selling. And it's fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform. The Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the right people that matter. So try the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. Got to go to that website to get that 60-day free trial. That's linkedin.com/lockedon for a free 60-day trial. You can let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you to sell like the superstar that you are today. Again, linkedin.com/lockedon to get started.
This is the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. And everydayers, if you haven't checked it out, check out Locked On Sports Today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program just for you to bring you the biggest stories across the sports world. Can't miss analysis, opinions, news, all the stuff you liked about Locked On Angels, but about the wide world of sports. It's streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Speaking of your team every day, the Angels are back at it, trying to sweep the series against the A's, 1:07 Pacific time at the Big A. Going to be a hot one. Sit on that left field side. You don't want to be out there in right field, not during the when the sun is bearing down on those on those seats. You can catch every pitch of the Angels' hometown broadcast on SiriusXM with the SXM app. All you got to do is search Angels.
Wash said that Trout is making progress. Here's what he said, a quote, "He's starting to feel like he might be able to get out here and get started. Once we see him on the field doing some things, then we're going to know that he's not too far away." Good news, because we're learning that Mike Trout more and more recently has had a huge impact on these young guys. I know there's a lot of discussion about his leadership. Well, Zach Neto says the dude's a leader, and he's impacted him in a major way. So here's what Neto said. "Growing up, I've always looked up to Mike." Now, pause for a moment. I wonder how Mike receives that. "Growing up, I've always looked up to you, Mike."
You know what? Growing up, I've always looked up to Mike, too, even though I'm like 5 years older than him. So.
Right, yeah. Neto said being able to share the same locker room and field and hear his thoughts, it's really a dream come true. He could have had the opportunity to go to any other team, but he's stuck with us. He's loyal, and he's loyal to his word and trying to build something here. That's just what I'm all about. Love that quote. I really appreciate that from him. Grateful to be able to join him for this ride to change something here. And then, Johnny, he said this. "So when the Angels finally returned to the playoffs for the first time since 2014, the question was, will you be the shortstop?" And he said, "That's right. That's right." So 2 questions for you. First, is Trout the leader that this team needs, even though he's not the fiery, vocal, in front of the media guy that gets angry and gets upset? Seems like he's having an impact. What do you think?
I think you can have an impact without being the leader, Mike. And the reason why I say that is, let's go back to our conversation about what you said about Ohtani and whether you miss him or not. And you mentioned Big Papi, David Ortiz. You mentioned
Derek Jeter.
Thank you, Derek Jeter. I'm blanking on all the names tonight. You mentioned those guys because I don't think they would have stood for what's been going on in the Angels organization, right? Yep. And Mike Trout has historically been called the quiet leader. And even though he says that he's, pushed for Artie and Perry to sign free agents and do this and do that, it hasn't happened. And sometimes I think you need to put your foot down and say, okay, then trade me. And as much as you and I would hate that because we love Mike Trout, I think it takes that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a game of chicken, and you got to figure out, where the line is before you get this ownership group to do something. I don't think those guys would have stood for it. Now, having said that, I believe that he's a leader in the quiet leader sense, in the sense that he's leading by example, and this loyalty conversation is having an impact on the young players. I think that that's a really great quote from Zach Neto in saying that he wants to build something here. When the Angels get to the playoffs, I want to be the shortstop who's in the playoffs with them. I think that's really awesome to hear that. And I'm sure it extends beyond Zach Neto. And this is kind of the first time, Mike, that the Angels have been able to have players who need to invest somewhere, and that's these young players. Because look at it this way. With Trout on this team, and even going to the years with Trout and Ohtani on this team, how many homegrown guys have come up? I can think of David Fletcher. I can think of Jared Walsh. I can think of Andrew Heaney, that sort of thing. There's been some homegrown guys, but none of them seem to care as much as a Logan O'Hoppe or a Zach Neto. Now, that's just me reading body language. I'm not trying to be a body language expert. But what I am trying to say is look at the rest of the roster around them over those years. You think of guys like, Yunel Escobar, who played third base for us for a while. Great guy, great corner, and wasn't bad for the Angels. But does he have an investment in this team? Did Justin Upton have an investment in this team? Or did his best days already play out for him on other teams? And maybe even Pujols. I know Pujols was here for 10 years. Well, 9, I guess. But he was signed for 10 years. And you'd hope that he cares about this Halo team. But when it comes to Mike Trout, I think he's the first one to actually care about being here and about being an Angel and care about this fan base. And now I think we're starting to see that with some of these young guys too. They care about winning. They care about this team. They care about their teammates. And they know that if this team is going to have any success, it's on their shoulders. So I think that's what I appreciated most about Neto's comments, and especially him saying, I want to be the shortstop when they get to the playoffs. It's because, hey, other people than Mike Trout want to be here too and build something here. And to me as a fan, I think that's huge.
I believe him. That's the thing. When I hear him talk, I believe him. I really think that he believes in this team. He believes in himself, and he believes in his teammates, and he wants to win here. I love that. And I think that has been one of many missing links over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And you pointed out a few of the names that have been on this team. This is why it can be good, but it can also be bad if you start filling this team with people from other teams or free agents from other teams. Anthony Rendon's an example of that.
Right. And I think of, Carlos Estevez's streak that he had going. The one who is tied for first, one of them is Ricky Nolasco, who of course was here 2017. Yeah. I think 2016 as well. It's those kinds of, we had Matt Harvey at one point. We had Trevor Cahill and guys who just are reclamation projects who don't really give a crap. I'm going to get Tyler Anderson swear jar and say something worse, but they don't really give a crap, Mike, about being here. And so it's nice that these young guys actually care about being here and want to contribute, right?
Yeah. Did you also see that Mike Myers was on that list?
Oh, no. Are you serious?
Mike Myers? That Mike Myers from 2020. I was like, this has got to be wrong.
Check your facts, Angels. You got this one all wrong.
Everydayers, just because it's tax season, or it's not tax season anymore, just because it's over, doesn't mean the IRS isn't going to not come after you. They are going to want to get those unfiled taxes from you. They're going to garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts. You don't want any of that. Don't let them target you. This is why you need Tax Network USA. They got licensed professionals that are here to help you out. They have 14 plus years of experience, and they got an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Good news is they're on your side. They have saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. So whether you owe taxes or you have complicated matters, or maybe you have extra money, you're just not sure how to file that, here's what you need to do. Call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. And there's a link in the description below to help you get there a whole lot faster. And man, we love Prize Picks around here. I'm a fan of Prize Picks. So is Johnny. He's helped me out recently to make my right picks because I've struggled. I've really struggled. So thank you for your help, Johnny. Here's how you use Prize Picks. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. And what's great about Prize Picks is they have promotions all week long. They have all sorts of ways for you to win money, win your money back. You can bet $10 and turn that into $1,000. And it doesn't have to be just baseball. It can be any sport. We've mentioned women's basketball, the WNBA lately. Love Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese is there. Brianna Stewart's there. Ajay Wilson is there. And you can win 100 times your cash by just watching them ball out. So check out Prize Picks. Check out the selections that they have for you. Pick more or less. It's really, really simple. Download the app right now. Use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. Join Prize Picks today. You can pick more. You can pick less. It's really that easy.
Mike, as I mentioned before, the Angels are playing at 1:07 Pacific time at the Big A. Going to be a hot one.
Yep.
And they've got themselves somebody starting in this game who's previously been a starter and has come over and been in the bullpen. And he's going to start this game today because we all know the Angels really short on starters right now. It's really just kind of Tyler Anderson and Griffin Canning at this point. They announced that Ransy Contreras is going to start against the A's today. To give you a little bit of background on him, Contreras was a starter for the Pirates from 2021 to 2023. He had 30 starts total and a record of 8-12. Now, he was a highly touted prospect at one point, and they had to make room on the roster and DFA him, and so the Angels were able to snap him up. I don't think he's going to be somebody that, that we hang our hat on as the future of the Halos. But listen, the Angels kind of passed back and forth Jose Soriano a few times, and the Angels were able to get him back, convert him to a starter. So, with his 30 starts that he's had in the past, record of 8-12. I don't know how much of that is on him, considering the Pirates have not been very good over the last couple of years. They're exciting this year. I think that they actually have a chance to be special, especially with Paul Skeens and the starting staff that they have going. So how does this move impact what the Halos do at the trade deadline? What do you say?
I don't think it impacts them at all. I think that this is just let's fill the spot. I think it also gives them an opportunity to continue to develop the Davis Daniels and the others that are down there. I do have a thought, maybe more of a question. Do you think that this is we just need to do something right now because of the injury to Sandy and the injury to Soriano, or the sickness that Soriano has? Or do you think that this is an indication that they really struggle with trusting some of those young guys at AAA and maybe even in AA? Or can I give you one more? That they don't want to rush them up because they don't have to. What do you think this is, John?
I'm taking the fourth option, Michael.
Okay.
And the fourth option to me is, do you remember how many options or lack thereof the Angels bullpen has had over the last, 3 or 4 years, especially in the last 4 years, where bullpen arms are out of options. And that's why you get stuck with a guy like Jose Suarez in your bullpen, because if he's doing well and you have to send him down, he has to go through waivers and probably get claimed. And so over the years, and not just with Jose Suarez, with a lot of guys, they did it with Jaime Barria last year. They don't have the option and flexibility to move these guys up and down from the minors, because they've run into that problem before. And I don't know if it was like a learning experience for Perry Manassian going through that, but keeping Ransy Contreras on the roster, giving him a start because he has the starter experience, I think is a necessary move, because if you move pieces around, if you bring somebody up, you got to send somebody down. You got to make room on the 40 man. You got to make room on the 26 man. Look, they made a bevy of moves the other day with Miguel Sano and Chase Silseth and activating those guys. They got to move Sandoval to the 60 day. And that in and of itself, to me, is a science. And sometimes I have a hard time keeping track of, wait, who's where and how many moves they have, and rosterresource.com/fangraph. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's kind of what this is. And he's got starting experience. So give the guy a chance to go out there and do it against a team like the A's, because there's nothing to lose here. And if he can have some success, maybe that sets him on a path toward having more starting success. And again, he was somebody the Pirates were very excited about, and he played for some not great Pirates teams. Now he's not playing for a great Angels team either, but roll the dice, see what you have with Ransy Contreras, because a team like the A's, I think it's the best option to start him against. Would you agree?
I was just about to say that, especially since they're going to be playing the A's, and then they got the Tigers, and then White Sox coming up, Rockies coming up. And so now's the time to kind of experiment with some of these pitchers, right? Especially if they do trade some of their starters, Tyler Anderson specifically, then be able to have some flexibility with whoever it is that's starting. And this guy can fill in. This guy could be a long reliever. The thing that you brought up about the options would be awesome if it's true, because that means the Angels are actually getting smarter in how they go about things, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Because often what happens as fans is we're like, oh, you just need to make this move, and you need to yank this guy and DFA that guy and throw him down and do that. But the truth is, you have to be really smart about how you're moving these guys around. And by the way, often when people say they got to DFA all these guys that are this or that, they can't, because they don't have options. Like Adele and Moniak are here or they're gone. Right. And so that's where they've gotten into trouble in the past, because they brought them up, put them down, brought them up, put them down, and they've ran out of options. And so you're kind of stuck with Adele hitting 187 in right field, although you want him to figure it out, right? You're kind of stuck with Mickey Moniak hitting below 200 in center field, but you want him to figure out. So that's what's great about this move, is that they're not thinking like right now in the moment we're panicking. They're thinking maybe a week or two or maybe a month down the road, like, hey, we want to make sure that we have enough flexibility for when we get to some of the dog days of summer, and perhaps they find themselves back in the race, and they don't want to mess with that.
Don't say it.
The race for the best trade chips.
Yes, there you go.
At the trade deadline. But, just so that they're not putting themselves in a really terrible position. That's what's great about this decision.
There was a tweet from a Locked On Everydayer, C. Burksa on Twitter, who said, I'd love to see somebody like Davis Daniel or maybe even Caden Dana. And I said, Daniel, yes, I would accept that. Caden Dana needs to stay in the minor leagues so that he can develop. We see it with Jose Suarez, once a top prospect in the Angels system, came up at 20 years old, and that's the reason why he's at where he's at. Reed Detmer's working on things in AAA. I think he still has what it takes to be a frontline starter, but he also came up the year after he was drafted, and that's why he's at where he's at. So I don't want to see the Angels, out of desperation, bring up somebody like a Caden Dana. And to me, this modicum of self-control that the Angels are showing right now, in the sense that, hey, rather than calling up Caden Dana, we're going to just go with Ransy Contreras, because this is the kind of season it is. This is the kind of team we can start him against. And this is the situation that we're in. And for them to not act desperate for once in their dang lives, well, at least the last 4 years, for them to not act desperate is really refreshing. And so that's why I'm in agreement with this start today. Now,
hey, thanks for making. Oh, sorry.
If it goes badly, it could go badly. It's Ransy Contreras, right? Yeah. And so, but again, this is where we're at in the season. So again, if this is what it's going to be and it goes badly and it blows up in their face, then you figured it out, you learned it, but at least you didn't waste the options that you have down in the minor leagues.
I ruined the chemistry. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Angels play the A's, 1:07 Pacific time. Of course, you can catch every pitch of the Angels' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Angels.
Hey, give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram, whether you're watching or listening to today's show. Come on over to YouTube, find the episode, get in the comments section, hit that like button on your way down there, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Really helps out Mike and I more than you know, personally. Personally, if you want to help us out personally, just hit that subscribe button. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
Well, since the A series will be ending tomorrow, and we'll be talking about the ending of it, we're going to talk about who's the worst owner, John Fisher or Artie Moreno. We're going to talk about that and who you would rather have as your owner.
Wow.
That's tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
All right. Looking forward to that conversation. We hope you'll come back and join us. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Thursday.
When I interrupted you, I wanted to yell, fun!
Fun! Like Tyler Anderson. Get the swear jar.